Have you ever thought you really knew a story, or maybe a character, like completely,
Yeah.
and then you look closer and suddenly realize, wow, there was so much more going on?
Happens all the time, doesn't it?
It really does. Well, today we're doing just that, taking a closer look at a classic that I think keeps surprising people. We're doing a deep dive into Jane Austen's Emma.
Fantastic choice. It's incredibly rich.
And to really get into it, we've gathered quite a range of sources. We're looking at feminist critiques, some really detailed character analyses, excerpts from the novel itself, of course.
And things like the setting, Highbury adaptations too.
Exactly. Analyses of adaptations, insights into Highbury, and even some interesting online discussions, like from Reddit.
Okay, great. So our mission today, I guess, is to get past that surface level, the sort of straightforward romance idea.
Right. We want to pull out some genuinely surprising bits about Emma Woodhouse herself, the society she lived in.
And maybe explore why this story just keeps being retold, why it still resonates.
Yeah, get ready for a few aha moments, hopefully.
Yep.
It might just shift how you see the whole thing.
Sounds good. Where should we start? Maybe with Emma herself.
Perfect. Let's open the book right where Austen introduces her. That famous description: handsome, clever, and rich.
With a comfortable home and happy disposition, lived nearly 21 years with very little to distress or vex her.
I mean, it sounds completely ideal, right? Like the perfect life.
On paper, yes. But Austen, being Austen, immediately slips in that little caveat, that warning about her real evil.
Ah, yes. The power of having rather too much her own way.
And a disposition to think a little too well of herself. It's brilliant how she sets up Emma's flaws, her potential for, well, self-deception right from the start.
So it's not just a simple portrait of privilege.
Not at all. And that feminist critique source really focuses on this. It highlights her diligent determination to be the unrivaled of all, but also, importantly, her resistance towards marriage.
Which was pretty unusual for a woman in her position back then.
Hugely unusual. Marriage was usually about security, social standing, but Emma's wealth gives her this incredible autonomy. She can actually choose.
So the act of saying yes or no to a proposal.
It's framed as genuinely empowering in that context. It's a form of control, of self-determination that most women just didn't have. She's not just spoiled, she's exercising real agency.
And that agency, combined with maybe having too much her own way, that really fuels her matchmaking obsession, doesn't
Oh,
it?
absolutely. It becomes her main project. She takes Harriet Smith.
Described rather cuttingly as the daughter of nobody.
Right. And Emma basically decides she's going to improve her, detach her from bad acquaintance, introduce her to good society, even form her opinions and her manners.
It sounds almost like she sees Harriet as clay to be molded. Is it purely generosity, though? Or is something else driving Emma?
Well, connecting the dots, our sources suggest it's not entirely selfless. There's this idea that Emma might be using Harriet as an agent, almost,
How so?
to savor an indirect love affair. Maybe projecting her own sort of buried desires onto Harriet. Look at how she instantly assumes Harriet must be a gentleman's daughter.
Despite having no evidence for it.
Exactly. It reflects Emma's own desire to, as one source puts it, conjoin Harriet and herself as one entity. Elevating Harriet somehow elevates Emma, too, in her mind.
So there's a definite self-serving undertone, as one analysis called it.
I think so. It's maybe less conscious selfishness and more. Well, she's bored, she's clever, Highbury's a small pond. She needs a project, a drama. Harriet becomes the lead in her play.
That makes a lot of sense. And this play really gets going with the whole Harriet Smith saga, her first big matchmaking attempt.
Or maybe matchmaking failure.
Yes, definitely a masterclass in failure. First, she convinces Harriet to turn down Robert Martin.
Who seems like a perfectly decent guy, a well-to-do agriculturist, and Harriet clearly has feelings for him.
But Emma decides he's undoubtedly her inferior. She connects his job with coarseness and clownishness. Pure snobbery, really.
And this is where you really see the class lines of Regency England drawn so sharply. Birth, money, land, that was everything.
Even though Martin has sense, sincerity, and good humor.
Doesn't matter to Emma, not at this point. And Mr. Knightley, he sees it immediately, doesn't he?
He does. The sources point out he thought the friendship itself was a very foolish intimacy.
Yeah, he worries Emma will puff her up with unrealistic ideas, make her think nobody's good enough for her. He sees the potential damage long before Emma does.
Knightley's always the voice of reason, isn't he? But Emma doesn't listen. Not yet. She's already picked Harriet's next target. Mr. Elton, the vicar.
whom Emma finds quite charming, a very pretty young man and a very good young man.
And her enthusiasm and determination for this match are pretty revealing. The analysis suggests this shows her subconscious approval of Elton, maybe for herself.
That's a fascinating read on it, and this is where, well, everything just blows up spectacularly.
Right, Mr. Elton isn't interested in Harriet at all.
Nope. He's been aiming for Emma the whole time. Every compliment, every gesture she thought was for Harriet.
Was actually his way of courting Emma.
Ah, the cringe.
It's peak Austen awkwardness, and it leads to Emma's first real humbling. She goes to bed realizing she's blundered most dreadfully.
Feels ashamed of herself, vows never to actively matchmake again.
And that Reddit comment calling it genuine growth, I think that's spot on. It's a shock to her system, forces her to see beyond her own assumptions, the first crack in that perfect facade.
It's a huge moment. Now, let's contrast Emma's world with Jane Fairfax's. They're sort of mirror images, aren't they?
In some ways, yes. Jane is beautiful, bright, and elegant, very accomplished. Emma even envies her.
She's the only one Emma envies, the novel says. But Jane has little fortune.
And that's the crucial difference. Jane is destined to become a governess, which is described as an unpleasant prospect.
Something Emma can barely comprehend. What does this contrast tell us about the society they're in? It lays bare the social constraints, particularly for women. Emma has the luxury of choice, of resisting marriage. Jane doesn't. For her, work like being a governess is a necessity.
And being a governess wasn't just a job, was it? It was a step down socially.
Absolutely. Genteel servitude, often lonely, dependent, a world away from Emma's life. And then there's the secret.
Ah, the secret engagement to Frank Churchill. Since the autumn.
Which caused Jane immense distress, apparently went against her principles. That secrecy, the pressure, it led to quarrels. Jane even broke it off at one point. Her inner life is so much more complicated than Emma initially grasps.
Emma's just busy speculating about who sent Jane that pianoforte.
Right. The gossip mill in Highbury goes wild. Was it Colonel Campbell, Frank? Even Mr. Knightley. Emma's guesses are way off base.
More blind spots for Emma.
Indeed. Though Knightley, again, he notices something's up. He says Jane wants openness, that she's more reserved than she used to be.
He senses the strain.
He does. But ultimately, Jane's lack of money forces her hand. She accepts that governess position with Mrs. Smallridge, a friend of Mrs. Elton's.
Mrs. Elton.
Exactly. It just underscores the harsh reality. Jane's talents, her elegance, they don't matter as much as her bank balance. It dictates her life in a way Emma can't fully fathom.
Let's talk about Highbury itself. It's called a small canvas, but one that intriguingly condemns all social forms of aggression and harps on social harmony. What does that mean, social aggression?
It's not about physical fights, obviously. It's the subtle stuff, the gossip, the snobbery, the jockeying for status, even Emma's meddling. Austen's showing how these little actions can disrupt the community's harmony.
And the characters embody this. Miss Bates, Mr. Woodhouse, Mrs. Weston.
Absolutely. Miss Bates is the heart of the gossip network, though kind. Mr. Woodhouse represents the pull of domestic comfort, maybe stagnation. Mrs. Weston is sense and kindness, and then Mrs. Elton.
The newcomer who tries to supplant Emma as the reigning lady.
Exactly. She's the most overt social climber, challenging Emma's position. And Highbury isn't totally isolated, is it?
No, the sources mentioned its connection to London. How does that play in?
Well, London represents urban values, acceleration, anonymity. Even just riding the 16 miles there and back is seen as a significant event that brings a whiff of the city into rural life.
So Highbury is this contained world, but aware of the bigger, faster world outside.
Precisely. It's a place where everyone knows your business, unlike anonymous London. That contrast creates tension.
And it's within this tight-knit, sometimes tense world that Emma finally has her big epiphany.
Yes, realizing she never loved Frank Churchill.
Not really. It was always Mr. Knightley.
Her social and intellectual equivalent, but also her main critic, the one who challenged her.
His proposal brings her perfect happiness eventually, though she has to get past her father's reluctance about her leaving home.
It's a journey for her, definitely. Not just a romance, but a shift from, as one source puts it, the false pleasures of pure selfishness to the more rewarding pleasures of sympathy for others.
A real transformation,
Yeah.
guided by Knightley's moral compass.
And her wit, will, imagination, and high-spiritedness finally blend cohesively. She grows up, essentially.
And Harriet, what becomes of her?
She gets her own happy ending, accepting Robert Martin's second proposal, which beautifully validates Knightley's original judgment.
And shows Emma's growth, accepting that Harriet's happiness lies there, not where Emma first imagined it.
Exactly. A lesson in humility learned.
So Emma isn't just a novel, it's a story that keeps getting retold. Films, TV series, stage plays.
And Clueless. Can't forget Clueless.
Of course. Why do you think it adapts so well so often?
The core themes are just timeless, aren't they? Self-discovery, class, love, making mistakes growing up. And a truly good adaptation, it doesn't just copy.
It adjusts for its new medium, finds its own point of view.
Right, bring something new. Clueless is genius at that. Takes the core story, puts it in a 90s high school.
And makes smart cuts, like dropping Jane Fairfax and Miss Bates.
Because, like we said, a secret engagement in high school, it just doesn't track. It focuses on the social hierarchies that do exist there.
What I find brilliant about Clueless is how you see Ty change under Cher's influence. Her clothes, her attitude.
Yeah, it makes that transformation, which is maybe subtler in the book or period dramas because of social constraints, really visible. It shows the impact Cher Emma has.
Then there's the 2020 Emma film. What stood up there?
Visually stunning, for one, but it also really digs into the parallels between Emma, Frank, and Jane.
How they all lost mothers young.
Yes, but how their different social standings, especially wealth or lack of it, meant that shared experience had vastly different consequences for them. It highlights the privilege aspect again.
And Emma pops up everywhere, doesn't she? Doctor Who references that spoof Jane Austen's Fight Club trailer.
Hilarious. It just shows how deeply embedded the story is in our culture. What does it say about a story that it can be twisted and turned so many ways and still resonate after 200 years?
It's pretty incredible. So wrapping up this deep dive, what's the big takeaway for us today? It's clearly more than just a rom-com.
Oh, much more. It's a journey of self-discovery, definitely. A sharp critique of class and the limitations placed on women. And it shows the power of messing up, learning, and finding your way.
We've seen Emma move from arrogance to humility.
Seen how society really boxes people in, especially someone like Jane Fairfax.
And how the story just keeps sparking new conversations, new versions.
Yeah, the irony, the detail. It gives us so much insight into human nature, still relevant today.
So maybe next time you revisit a classic, or even watch a modern movie, it's worth looking for those hidden layers, those connections you didn't see before.
You might find a whole new story hiding in plain sight. And maybe one final thought to leave you with. This dive into Emma really highlights how often our attempts to do good for others can be tangled up with our own needs and desires.
Like Emma's matchmaking.
Exactly. So maybe reflect on this. In your own life, when you try to help or guide someone, how much of that is about what you want or expect versus what that person truly needs or desires themselves?
That's a really interesting and maybe slightly uncomfortable question to ponder.
It often is.